All right, guys. Welcome to the first full week of this stint of virtual learning. We're not going to be learning too much new information. I have a few new words to introduce to you this week. But I just wanted to make kind of a video that goes through this slideshow so you can hear me tell you about these terms, and also hopefully by hearing me explain some of the assignments, you won't be as confused or anything like that. So first of all, congratulations because you found my video on Edpuzzle, and watching this to the end where it shows me you've watched 100% is a grade. So make sure you watch it to the end. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing here. All right. So this is your keynote for the week. So for Monday, it says read through the slides and notes, and your assignment will be found at the end of the notes. Lecture video is on Edpuzzle. That's what you're watching right now, and you're expected to watch it. It is for a grade. So for today, we're going to talk about a couple things that happen in an ecosystem that influence the amount of population of species that can live there. So the first thing is competition. What is competition? It's fighting for survival. It's fighting for resources to help you survive. So, in middle school, our competition is our football game. But what do? We fight to win. We play to win. And that's what happens in the animal kingdom. So a couple examples of competition in an ecosystem would be, say you have 3 various species of birds that all eat the same type of nut. And you only have one tree within a reasonable range of flying that produces those nuts. The birds are then going to fight to get the food they need to survive. They compete for the food. If there's not enough food to adequately feed the entire population of all 3 of the bird species, some of them are going to die. They're not going to win. So in nature, if you lose competition, you could die. It's pretty serious. Competing for, let's see, they compete for mates, for food, for shelter, for water, for territory, anything they need to survive or for their species to survive, so reproduction. We see competition for mates a lot. We've seen some examples of that in class. So the cuttlefish, you have they do different things to try to impress the female. So they're the ones that get to pass on their genetic information. You have, say, cardinals. The prettier colored cardinals are going to get to mate with the female cardinals and pass on their genetic information. And so the ugly male cardinals, which I've never seen one, but the ugly male cardinals, their genes for the, less bright red or something to that effect, it doesn't get passed down. There's the bell. Competing for food, that just makes sense. If we're talking about the Amazon rainforest, there's still only so much available food and many different species of animals that need that food. So when it runs out, we have a major problem. Shelter. Absolutely. We're going to fight for shelter. We have to have shelter to survive. Humans fight for shelter, right? So shelter, water, territory, which is just the land and the territory that they are, deer, things like that. They mark their territory. And they'll fight other, say, males who go into that territory, because basically if a female goes onto their territory, they've claimed that female for reproduction purposes, for survival. So understand that this is kind of what animals compete for. And this will be explained in the Edpuzzle videos that you have for today as well. I also have a really good competition game that we can try to play at some point when we get back. I did it with my 8th graders this year and they really liked it. So every ecosystem only has so many resources. There's only so much, and it can only replenish at a certain pace. Every ecosystem can only carry or hold so many species before they start to die due to lack of resources available. This is called carrying capacity, and definitions down there. The average amount of species population in an ecosystem that can be sustained. So sustained means kind of kept equal or even. So when it's mating season, or birthing season for a large number of species in, say, the Amazon rainforest, you're going to have this huge spike. So you've got your average population, you have this big spike where all the babies are born, but it's going to go back down to this average. Why? Because at that point it's exceeded or gone over its carrying capacity, and some of them aren't going to make it. There's not enough resources to go around. They have to compete for those resources. And if they don't, they die. There's also a new word for you today. It's called limiting factors. That's literally any factor that can limit the growth of the population of any species. So we have, let's say, birds that nest in really high trees, or like eagles. We have eagles here in Oklahoma, and they build their nests way up high in the really tall trees. But then we have a tornado come through and it wipes out a large percentage of the trees that those eagles nest in. The population is not going to be able to grow because they don't have the space to build their homes and lay their eggs and have their babies. So you're going to see the population decline in the eagles because of a natural disaster. That could be floods, that could be tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, all sorts of different things. Food availability. So if I am, the apex predator, I'm the lion, okay, and I tend to feed on gazelle, but so do cougars and jaguars and cheetahs. We all eat gazelle. And something happens to the gazelle population. Maybe there's a disease that goes through them or something. They start dying quickly. Now I'm having to compete with these other animals for my food, and we're going to die. Some of us are going to die because we're not going to get the food that we need. And it's going to limit the growth of this population. Other things could be changing climate. Humans, of course, we're kind of the worst. And available space, which can also get tied back into humans, right? If we're taking up their space, they're now cramped into a smaller space, and now there's a smaller area of resources to compete for. So you talk about the rainforest, humans come in and we've cut half the rainforest out. Well, everything that lived in the whole rainforest is now in half the space. So you can imagine that carrying capacity went down by half. The limiting factors are going to be the available space, the humans' involvement, and the food availability, because now there's only half as much food available for what would have started out as that whole amount of animals trying to come in, and then they just die. They die off. They can't compete, and they don't survive. So those are the two new words for today: carrying capacity and limiting factors of an ecosystem. There are two videos on Edpuzzle that's not this one. So there's technically 3 for today. And watch those and answer the questions for your grade. All right, so we're gonna move on to Tuesday. And this is a simple vocabulary assignment. We've done these before on virtual. So you have those words listed down there: ecosystem, food web, food chain, trophic level, apex predator, decomposer, autotroph, heterotroph. No, you're fine. Okay. Okay. Autotroph, heterotroph, biodiversity, symbiosis, limiting factor, carrying capacity, and competition. You're going to do one slide for each word. Each slide has the word, the word, definition, example, use it in a sentence, something to that effect, give an example of an autotroph, okay, and a photo. So the next slide's an example. I did carnivore. I've got the word, definition, my example. I kind of used it in a sentence, and a picture. Okay, so you're going to do that for all those words. There is a link on Google Classroom under coursework or assignments where you can upload that Google slide and turn it in. Please do it on Google Slides. For Wednesday, there's a Bill Nye Edpuzzle with questions. That'll be your grade. You'll get a grade on the questions. It's about ecosystems, and they're going to discuss some of these words and things like that that we've seen. Also, you'll notice on this slide, I say begin working on food pyramid web art. Pictures due tomorrow. That would be Thursday. And you need to bring it with you when you come back. So this is something I need you to do at home. You're going to send me a picture of it so I can grade it. And then when we come back on February 8th, I want you to bring it and turn it in. So this is a good lesson in responsibility and keeping up with things. So if you need to draw it and keep it in your laptop bag until then, do that. So here's what you're going to do. It'll be on Thursday's slide. You're going to take a blank piece of paper at home. If at all possible, please use just plain white like printer paper. I understand if you don't have printer paper, you might need to use lined paper, but at least try to use a solid color paper first. You're going to draw, label, and color your choice of food pyramid, the energy pyramid, or a food web for the animal that you did your research project over. Now, I have a couple of you who still haven't done your research project. You can email me and I'll get you an animal. But let's say I did skunks. Okay, so I am going to now build a food web or a energy pyramid around my skunk. So if I do a pyramid, I need to have all 5 trophic levels. Now, a skunk is not at the top. It's not an apex predator, right? So it's not on that quaternary level. My skunk, I think skunks are herbivores. So it's actually just going to be on that primary consumer level, just a second level up. So there's my skunk. Okay, now I need to keep going. What eats a skunk that eats this to get to my 5 levels? Okay, and I would like 2 or 3 animals on each level, not just 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Okay, make sure to be neat and use the entire page. Take a picture with your phone or your computer and then upload it under the assignment on Google Classroom that's called Food Web Art. And I put a couple examples on the last slide here. You can see that the very first one on the left, that energy pyramid, it's got lots of different examples at each level. It has 5 levels. The only thing they didn't do is label the animals that they drew. I know some of us aren't the best artists. You wouldn't be able to tell my deer from my elk, from my gazelle, from my antelope, from my moose. So label your animals for me, makes it easier. The next one, the next pyramid is a really great one with their shark. They have their shark at the top and the different types of animals that eat the other animals that eat the other animals that go all the way down to your phytoplankton. And then we have food web examples on the right. So long as the animal you researched is in there somewhere, and you've done it correctly, you've put your arrows right and things like that, you'll get full points. I don't intend for this to be difficult. I intend for you to probably have to look up some of the things that eat each other to get all the different animals and things like that on your food web. Okay, so if you do your energy pyramid, you need all 5 levels with, I'm gonna say, probably 5 pictures on the bottom. Then you can do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So 5 pictures for the bottom. Your second step up have 4 pictures. Next one up have 3 pictures. Next one up have 2 pictures. To your apex, you can just have the 1. On a food web, let's say total at least 10 pictures. Okay, I will be available via Zoom, provided nothing new comes up with my dad, just like normal school hours. I don't sit here with my Zoom up. When you log into my Zoom room, I get an email, and then I go get.
The red team is meeting in the library at this
So
time.
when you log in, I get an email and it says such and so has joined your Zoom room, and then I click the link and it brings it up for me. So it takes me about 1 minute from the time you join my Zoom till I get on. If I'm, say, in a meeting, I can join it on my phone, or if anything, if I'm in a meeting and I can't pull it up right then, I can shoot you an email real quick and say, hey, can you meet me at 10:30 when I get done with this meeting? So please don't hesitate to hop on Zoom, ask a question, email me, anything you want. I'm here. Don't struggle. Okay. Let's see. I do have everything set due on Thursday night. Okay, because this is like normal school. So if we were doing this in class, you'd be expected to turn it in at the end of the hour, or have overnight to do it. Everything should be available starting Monday at midnight. If you get it all done on Monday, cool. You don't have work for me the rest of the week, okay, because you've done your work. Please make sure that you also have your emails set up. We have to put in attendance at 10 a.m. So when you're setting up those emails, set them to come at like 7 or 8. So we're not waiting. I put mine in at about 9:30. So if you set yours to come in at 9:45, I'm going to have already marked you absent. Okay. So just set your emails for this week, put them in at like 7:30. That's the easiest. Okay. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I hope having this little video to help you through some of this helps. And stay safe. And I can't see my screen. Okay. What do I do? Ah. Stop share. And all right, I'm going to stop my recording.